So this is a nice chunk of ash, 11 inches diameter, that's 280 mil by 4 inches tall, that's 100 mil tall, and I think it will be a great gift for a great friend of ours, and she really deserves something special like this. So let me show you how I turn big balls. Now I'll first grab the tenon with the chuck. Doesn't matter that it's either round, it will just be for a few seconds until I make a groove on the inside. So that's 1000 RPM, good for now, and I want to make a groove just watching, projecting where the chuck is on the other side, so it should be okay somewhere around here. This is square end scraper, and I'll use a skew just to undercut it a little bit. And also while I'm here, I'll just true up the rim here. So when I turn it around, I'll know if it's running true. So now turn it over. So now this recess here can go over the chuck jaws, and I'll just align the jaws with the grain, so that's good. Now if I use standard key, you can see I cannot get inside to widen the jaws. So what I have, you can use Allen key, short Allen key, and use that here, but I also have for this kind of, since you can see I just barely see the end of the chuck here, so I have this one with the ball on the bottom, so that will allow me to pivot the key outside the ball. So just now expand the jaws, and when I spin it, the rim here, it's running nice and true, so I know the chuck jaws are all the way in the recess. So now the ball is nicely secured on the chuck, so now I can true up the outside first. So for that I'll use a ball gouge. This is 16 mil. Okay, and also do the bottom. I need nice clean tenon. So that should be okay, and I'll remove this tenon later, so I'll make something, maybe another step here, and also I'll make a decoration later, something like that. Yeah, I can work out the decoration later. So now I can bring the speed up a little bit more, 1250 RPM, and I'll make a nice shear cut on the side. So that's perfect surface, doesn't need any work at all, so at least that I can see. So the curve is also quite nice, but what I'll do with the refiner is just sort this end here, just blend that the rest of the curve. Okay, I'm really happy with this. What I'll quickly do is just sand the outside. What you can do is pre-raise the grain if you want. So some species can be more fuzzy after first wash than others. Usually ash is not that of a problem, but I thought it should be okay to show you how I do this. So just go lightly over the surface until you get this kind of a color, and now just let it run like this and it will dry off. Now usually what will happen when you pre-raise the grain, the surface can get a little rougher, although again ash is not that common for that. A maple can be a little bit more notorious for getting fuzzy after first wash, but you can see the ash. Maybe you can't see it, but I can feel it. It's still nice and smooth, so you can still wait a little bit to just the surface water to evaporate. And the common mistake is that you use too coarse of a grit or even final grit that you use. So in this case 400 is maybe too rough of the grit to just remove that fuzzy grain or raised grain. So what I like to do is find used final grit, 400 used paper, well used, and I use that to just burnish away the surface. And you can go in reverse as well. Again, this ash, I'm just showing you this sort of as an option for let's say maple or some other species if you know that will get quite fuzzy. So usually again I don't do this step because after a few cycles of washing the surface will get smooth again. So used 400 grit and just lightly go over the surface. So that's done, the outside, apart from the foot. So now we can flip this over, grab a bowl or grab a foot. Just see the thickness here. There's a lot of wood here. Now I switched the camera slightly to the right so you can see a little bit better here, but also I can move around. And the rim here I'll now finish with the refiner. Nice and gently. And also I'll put a little round over here. And with a spindle gouge, I'll just roll the bead, all this round over from the bottom as well. Okay, so that's looking quite good, and it feels good. Can go slightly more in. Like so. So the rim is done, and now I would like to undercut the rim here a little bit. And I can undercut even more. So let's see the surface. So I'm happy with the undercut portion, but there is still a lot of wood here. So, and let me just double check the bottom real quick, where I am. So I have almost 20 mil, something like that, beneath this point. So I can go slightly shallower curve. And I'll stop here because the bevel of the gouge won't allow me to go any deeper. So the cut, hopefully you can see it. Just double check. So the cut is looking really nice, and it's nice flowing curve as well. So with this chunk here, I'll use scraper to get that down and finesse it with a nice flowing curve. Now I'm using here refiner, not the perfect tool because there is a lot of overhang here, but it's on the bench and the curve should match what I need here. And I'll just tilt the tool rest slightly more in. I have this 38 mil behemoth of a scraper. That should match the curve nicely. Those are a lot of shavings here. So yeah, that should be okay. Maybe a little bit deeper. a little bit. So that should be ready for sanding. That's again nice flowing curve. Now what I have here in a chuck is just a little block of walnut. I've been using this for years now. It has a slight curve here, so it sort of matches the curve on the inside of bigger bowls. And I also use a little bit of paper towel, just so if it slips slightly, it doesn't mar the wood on the inside. And I have a new center hole here, so it should line up close enough. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. So now I would like to do something with this portion here, spindle gouge, and I'll just clean up first this shoulder, like so. It's slightly out of round, but it won't matter too much. And just clean this up, and let's see. I think that should be okay. The size of the tenon is also okay. A little bit wider. All that is left is to sand this a little knob away. This is 400 grit. And that's it. Sand a little bit from this way. Perfect. Of course, sign it. Ash or Jasen in Croatia. And also I'll write Merry Christmas, but in Croatian. Sretan Božić. And now the fun bit, putting the oil on this lovely piece. Let's see how the ripples and the different colors will pop out. So whenever I have details like this on the bottom, I like to start there, just put a little bit more oil on, just to get everything nicely covered, and let's run. Now look at this beauty here, all the different colors in it. The ripples show on some of the spots, and this is probably one of my favorite areas, this here. And look at the inside, so really nice. So now it's time to go on the bandsaw and cut it in half. Yeah, it's not even a good joke. So yeah, it's a really nice, and I think she is going to like it. So thank you for watching, Merry Christmas, and see you in the next video.